What time is it? Your show. Yeah, what time is it? Your show. Yeah, what time is it? Your show. Yeah, he's back from the dead. Your show. Putting it on the map, yeah. Saskatoon. Right next to New York. New York. Yeah, what show, yeah. Your show. What time is it? Your show. Yeah, time to talk some shit, yeah. Your show.
You've tuned in, yeah.
Yeah, fun Maggie. Bark, bark, wolf, wolf, who wants a treat, yeah. Keep listening.
Which camera am I looking at? This middle one. Here. Oh, great. It's happening. Oh, it's happening. Here we go.
I think we're making
awesome.
a show.
There we go. Welcome to your show. This is Wednesday, February 5th, 2025, I'm told. I'm also told this is episode number 206. This is a show where we're number one. Gary doesn't like doing this anymore, but I like doing it because that's what I remember him doing. We're number one in sidekicks showing up in the afternoon and leaving their own real professional job to do an interview with a famous movie maker. And then that movie maker and us don't kind of align stars. And then it doesn't happen. So that we're number one in that. We're also number one where the overlord of our network is laying on his bed in his chalet, trying not to vomit. And we can see him, and he could see us. He's literally, 80 feet away from us, but can't make it into the studio to host his own show, which is your show, which has been hosted by LB for the past 2 days. Also, we have a pre-tape of a band called Sunday Morning Riot. They're playing at 3 Hall this weekend, and we're going to run that before we go into anything else. I want to get that going because after that we have some exciting quarter century J stuff we're going to get into. So the hand, please run that, sir.
As we continue our journey through the incredible music world in this beautiful city of ours with our friends in both at 3 Hall and with Bloom Entertainment, we have another band in here and another band to get to know and support, and this one is very, very special. Sunday Morning Riot. Hell of a name. I love it. Shane and Louise are here.
Right on.
And, it's a very stock question. I was just telling you guys earlier, I've been in radio for like half my life, and it's so hard to come up with different ways to ask the same questions. And everyone always wants to know about the name and how did the name come about. So I hate to be the person who says, how did you come up with the name? But I feel like there was a pretty cool story behind this at some point somewhere. So maybe just touch on it a little bit about where Sunday Morning Riot came from.
Okay, yeah.
Go ahead,
Well,
start it off.
Okay, so the band was sort of a long time in the making. We were fits and starts. Shane's been playing in bands all along. I was newer to music, but I've been writing for a long time.
Oh, yeah.
Mostly just playing by myself in my basement, not realizing that my drummer, who is first my husband,
Ooh, okay.
had any
This is getting better, yeah.
interest in the music that I was writing. I didn't know he thought it was any good. In fact, secretly, I thought he didn't like it at all.
Oh,
So-
hold on real quick.
Yeah.
Would he just like look at you or like just come down and be like, can you turn it down a bit or something like that? Was there, like, what made you
I'll
feel that
answer
way?
this one.
There we go.
I mean, like the writing has been stellar, since I met Louise, 16 years ago. So she's been writing for probably her whole life. The writing's been amazing. Like just, I don't know how you say it, but it's like, when you perfect things, it's like this detail, the way that she can express herself through words, phrases, it's incredible. So, that's the lyrical point. That always impressed me. Maybe like musically, there wasn't a lot of impressing going on, although that's changing a lot in the last, couple of years too. So, which is exciting to see. I mean, we're speaking about Bloom Entertainment. To see like musical language start to bloom through, the head man or woman of the band. So I love that. It's great to see. It's been fun to be a part of that journey. both in a marriage and as musical partners. So.
Yeah, and that says a lot right there, because a lot of people don't make it through that, right? Like, be it with like the marriage or the band or any of that, because it's just
So
extra
personal.
layers,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
Yeah. So I didn't think he had any interest in the music that I was writing. And it just kind of, now he's expressed, now I know why, because I'm a terrible guitar player. And that probably stands. I've improved since
Hey,
those
it's hard
days.
to do. It's really hard to do.
Yeah, it turns out, especially when you don't really have interest. The guitar was just the prop to write the songs, because I love to sing, I love to write. So anyway, long story short, Shane is a very talented musician. He's been playing for a long time. He's got a lot of really talented, we have talented friends. So our buddy Todd, we were at one of their gigs in the summer at Bangoff, and we just started kind of brainstorming the idea of like, would we want to just try to play some of these songs? So we did, and we didn't have any ideas for the band name. And our friend Todd Peters from Royal Harp, who's our bass player in this band, he was wearing a beautiful shirt with Birds of Paradise on it.
It's one of my favorite flowers.
Right?
Yes.
Mine too. And my
Absolutely.
birthday flower. So we were like, okay, I guess we'll call the band Bird of Paradise, because we didn't have any other ideas. And it just, I'm a wordsmith. Words are my life, kind of. So it didn't land real slick that we'd named our band after Todd's shirt. Nothing against the shirt, nor the
Or Todd.
flower, nor Todd. But anyway, so a few months later, I was on an airplane to Vancouver, writing a song about how Shane and I met.
Ooh, origin story. I like
Yeah,
that.
which
Here we
was
go.
like at a prayer meeting. So the song kind of has like a,
That's a loose term.
yeah, okay. Well, that's a different story for a different day.
Of course.
But anyway, so I'm writing you a love story. Thanks for interrupting. And awkwardly on the plane, because I keep having to go to the bathroom to, work on singing it because I felt too awkward. And there's good acoustics, it turns out, in an airplane bathroom.
Never thought of that.
And if you're kind of like smacking on the side of the wall, it's got like a good
Yourself a
bass
beat,
kind of,
get a feel to it. Yeah, I can see
yeah,
that.
exactly.
Yeah, for sure.
So anyway, the song was originally called Sunday Morning Riot, and it's all about how I needed him, I wanted him, and if I didn't have him, there'd be a Sunday morning riot. So anyway, obviously, in time, I finally expressed to the other bandmates that, nope, I wasn't cool with Bird of Paradise. So Sunday Morning Riot feels like it kind of encapsulates part of our story, but also like as a couple, but also our story like as people of faith and people like exploring what it is to be musicians and what it is to kind of, I don't know, seek what is true or, reevaluate things, not just take them all at face value.
I love that. That is absolutely fantastic. In my head, I was thinking, I always had, back when I used to drink, I would have a Sunday morning ride in my brain every Sunday morning.
Okay.
So I thought
That's
maybe it was something
normal.
along like that.
That's totally normal.
Yeah.
So, and it's
But it's
always
that
cool.
too, right?
Well,
Yeah.
it's always cool to have different meanings. You know the true one, but anyone's free to make up their own sort of road to that.
Absolutely.
Whatever that is, which is, again, a big way of making it through life. So, Telemiracle fundraiser going on February 8th. You guys will be in the house.
Can't wait.
As a guy, like, I've grown up with Telemiracle. My Auntie Susie has been at Elmwood Lodge forever. She's worked at Cosmo like since I was born, so I've had a close connection with adults with disabilities and with people that really, really benefit from Telemiracles. Like my Auntie Susie, every time I was in Saskatoon, she'd always get to go up and play tambourine, which was awesome. So we'd always make sure we're
Right
watching
on.
That's
that,
a skill.
and it's crazy. I couldn't do
That's
it.
a real
And that's why I
skill.
always laugh. And she's better than me at bowling too, which is
Oh,
you
come
know,
on, the
she's-
doubleheader.
Yeah, she's very talented. And so this is near and dear to my heart, and it always has been. Maybe talk a little bit about the fundraiser itself, and I guess sort of the joy things like this bring to not just you guys being able to do your thing to support, but bringing people together to basically make a bigger difference.
Yeah, I mean, I have a lot of friends who've played in for other bands supporting Telemiracle.
Yeah, at the
I haven't
top
really
up.
done it myself yet, so we haven't done it. So this is a bit of a first time around the block for us. But you know, that being said, I mean, they're a mainstay within the province, so we hear them all the time, you know, on the radio. Every year, I guess they have this fundraiser. So, yeah, I don't know a whole lot about what they do. I mean, I've done a little bit of research, but I think
Yeah, it was a heavy question. I didn't mean for it to be so heavy. It's just like
No, not at
the
all.
idea of getting people together and you being like the precipice.
Yeah,
is
I
really
think
cool.
I think it's great. I think
Yeah.
every time you can bring 2, 3, or 4 or 5 bands together for a worthy cause. I mean, we love playing outreach events and
Yeah. Well, we discovered early on that we probably weren't going to become rich playing music. No, I'm just kidding. Obviously, we weren't going to. It's for fun. We're
You
like,
never say never. though.
we're
You never know.
look, we're middle-aged parents with like little kids. We're just stoked if we can stay up till 9 p.m.
Get out and do something.
and
yeah.
release these songs from our basement, which
Mm-hmm.
is the main place they get played. So anytime we can be together with people and supporting something, I mean, everybody needs like a reason to get out, and it seems like live music
So do
is
we.
something. Yeah, mostly
Yeah.
we need a reason to get out and get a babysitter.
Sure.
But live music just feels like something for us that has been sort of on the decline. And it was such a delight to go play an open mic night at the 3 Hall with Bloom Entertainment and just find a group of people that is psyched about live music again, people who actually want to
Bringing it
get
back.
out of the
I
house
say that all
to
the time.
listen to
Bringing music back to Broadway, man.
Honestly,
it's a great thing.
it's so
wild,
special because
yeah.
it's been, when I first met Shane, he was playing all the time at the Capitol. No, not the Capitol. What was it in those
well,
days on
Lydia's,
Broadway?
but
At
that
Lydia's.
old
Way
Lydia's.
back,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Way back at Lydia's, and it was just, there was live music all the time on Broadway. You could kind of wander in off the street without any heads up
Absolutely.
and just
have
find
a
it.
hell of a time. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's great.
So it's just super fun to have a reason to get together, and we're super excited to be able to support something and maybe even get some people who wouldn't ordinarily come out to live music because they're interested in supporting a very worthy organization.
That's
So
it.
we're
Since we started working with both 3 Hall and Kinger and Saul with Bloom Entertainment, the idea was, let's get these bands in here, promote what you're doing, and get people out to those places. And they noticed right away that there was a want for this. There are people that want to go and experience music in the flesh, like being right there, not just listening, but feeling it, right? And the whole idea of having an experience instead of just pushing a button and listening. And with things like this, like they're doing it so well. And I'm so proud of them for all of this, because it always takes one person to start it. And for a long time, we didn't have that. So now that it's here, so grateful and so thankful that they've taken that step here, and we're so happy as well to be a part, like a little part of all of this that's going on. Real quick before we wrap up, maybe if you can explain what a show is like for Sunday morning, Ryan. What can people expect when they come out to see you on February 8th at 3 Hall? I know it's another loaded question.
You're really
it's
making
tough,
us
but
think here.
it's just I like to give people an opportunity to explain what they're about, and you guys have done a very good job of that already. But maybe just a little cherry on top of what they might see next Saturday.
So I think we've struggled to really put our finger on the exact genre.
That's perfect,
that
by the
we
way. I love that.
encapsulate.
Never
So-
put yourself in a box.
Okay.
Love
Okay.
that.
Okay. Good. I feel
Yeah.
always like we kind of need to give you a general idea.
No.
Like, is it death metal? No.
No.
I can say for sure it's not death metal.
It might turn into that though.
Hey,
We'll
there's nothing
see.
wrong
We'll
with
see how
that.
the band
I'm a big death
evolves.
metal guy.
But no, there's like kind of probably like a blues kind of element, Americana. I think our best songs, in my opinion, are the ones that are quite angry.
Yeah, something with feelings.
Yeah, something with feelings.
Emotions, they
There's
carry through.
feelings. You can
Absolutely.
expect feelings. You can expect laughter, I hope, a good time.
Yeah, I think that it's, when because we perform as a 2-piece sometimes, and you're going to get a different feel out of that show, whereas we invite our friends to play, which they play with us more often than not, and it's always welcome because they're great. But what you get is like 4, I think, different musical genres kind of mixed in the pot. So it is kind of hard to put our finger on it, but like Louise said, Americana is probably at the top of the list. Blues also at the top of the list. A little bit of spaghetti western as well. So it, I think it would be best for other people to kind of tell us who we are, because I think we kind of put music forth, and if it somehow bridges a gap between us and them, then that's kind of the whole point, right? Is just trying to get this human experience happening, you know, whether you're on stage or not. I think it doesn't really matter because you're all in this place together under one roof.
You don't need to be anything. Maybe that's what you are. You're everything. Like when I first started this place, everyone would always ask me, well, what do you do? And then I would say, well, what do you mean, what do I do? And they say, well, what do you do here? What's the reason for this place? And I'd say, what do you want to do? And then some people just couldn't handle that. They have to have something. I'm like, no, man. Like, if you need something, think of it like Seinfeld. Think of it like a show about nothing. This place can be nothing or everything.
Right.
It's whatever you want it to be. And I feel like you guys got a nice dose of that in here, which is very cool because it's different. We always say, if you want to stand out, you have to be different. That's it. And if you don't, you're just going to be another person in that line under this label, and that's it for you. So I made very sure around here that we keep everything open so we can be anything. And I feel like that's what you guys are doing, which is very, very cool to me.
Right on.
Yeah, I
really
guess
like
we
that.
try to not keep it defined.
Yeah,
you
that's
know,
great.
and art is an interesting thing because everybody has their own take on what they see or what they hear.
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
and that's fine. I think we'd like to keep it there and not just put ourselves in a box or pigeonhole us in a certain genre or whatever. If it comes to that, fine. But I think it's the open-endedness or the mystery of it is kind of the
part of
essence
it,
of it
man.
all. So
Hell yeah. I
Yeah.
really appreciate that. Again, February 8th, 3 Hall, Sunday morning riot. We'll be in the house. You guys have any places where people can go to see your stuff, like social media stuff or anything that you want to plug right now?
We have finally entered the world of social media.
Oh, boy.
Thanks in part to Bloom Entertainment and the open mic night we played a couple weeks ago. So yeah, we do. We've done a few one mic recordings that are on YouTube. We've recorded a few other things that you can find on wherever you stream music. And we're now on Instagram.
There you
so
go.
if you want to find any more information about upcoming shows, or you can check it out there.
Perfect. And so they just Google Sunday Morning Riot?
Sunday Morning Riot.
yeah, on YouTube we did a couple of videos with my friend Matt Thaka. He does the Saskatchewan mic recording.
Yeah, okay.
So we did a couple of recordings with him.
Awesome.
There's a couple of other random shows I think maybe that you'll find, but yeah,
There you go. So
it's all out there.
support them. That's what we're all about here, supporting each other, lifting each other up, and this is another great example of that. Thank you so much to both of you guys for stopping by, and I
Yeah.
really appreciate it. I look very forward to your big show, and hopefully we'll get you back in here again real soon, and keep talking and keep promoting and keep growing.
Right on.
Great to
Thanks
be
so
here.
much.
Thanks for
Awesome.
having
Thanks,
us.
for
guys.
having us.
All right, we're back here. That was Sunday Morning Riot. They're going to be performing February 8th at 3 Hall, doing some amazing stuff. Always love that Gary brings those 3 Hall guests in. It's pretty amazing. One thing that is amazing is Gary's dog, Maggie. We have something called the Maggie Cam, and it's brought to you by Pet Planet on 8th, your pet's natural grocer. Last week we spoke about something about getting your vocal box or your voice ready, doing things like I did nothing like that. You know what? Another thing that's also funny is I feel like Don Cherry. I've heard Don Cherry when he's on set, when he used to be on set on the CBC, he needed it pitch black, silence, as if no one was in the room except for him and Ron, and that's the only way he could perform. We have like not a full house here today, but we have a few things going, and it was like story time in between on that take there, and I was so rattled. I'm like trying to listen to a conversation going on and then remembering what the hell I'm supposed to be saying on here, and then also not swear as much. So we're going to cut to a Maggie Cam. She's looking like a little princess laying down, missing Gary right now. So maybe missing Leroy a little bit. That's her boyfriend. I hear Gary tells me she's got a little boyfriend at Pet Planet on it. Oh, there we go. Look at that. Leroy's in the camera. Look at those soft eyes. Just beautiful.
Love that.
So if you want to go during store hours, hit up Mike or Rochelle, or if you have after hours requests, I guess, hit up Kristen, Char, or Chris, and they will help you out. Best Pet Planet in the world, best pet store in the world. And it's right here in Saskatoon.
Crush that promo. Great
Thanks.
work, man. Nice work.
Thank you. Hey, spoiler alert. We have our first guest. He's a local broadcaster, play-by-play announcer for the Rattlers. Just re-signed. I think it is signing season in the MLB, and I guess it is for the basketball season as well. So I don't know if we've got the numbers, the figures advertised, what you'll be making
I
per game, but
Try to keep that. That's
Well,
private stuff,
yeah.
man.
It's not
Let's
a.
just say
It's
there's a
not.
reason I can come here at 3:45 on a Wednesday afternoon.
Gotcha. So this is Simon Hiatt.
Money's not an issue.
He's also the public address for the Saskatoon Berries, which is amazing. He's also dressed up in Dunedin Jays attire, which is very beautiful, and
Game
a little
worn.
bit of foreshadowing with what we're going to be doing.
Yeah.
We also have someone on the old Zoom machine. He's all the way around the world because this is the all the way around table or something like that is what Gary says. I sit here a
that's
lot,
right.
but I never pay attention. I
You're-
just
you're
chime in
killing it,
from
man.
time to
You're
time.
doing
So let's
great.
if the phenom can the magic hand. There he is.
Hey!
This is Adrian Balerjean. And apparently he's riding on the subway or he's in a toilet. Public restroom it might be. Where are you, AJ?
I'm just on the train. We just went by the MCG and
Right.
where they play the Australian Open. And I'm about to get off at Flinders Street Station because I don't think anybody on the train appreciates me talking out loud.
Okay. Well,
Can you hear me?
yeah,
We
you're
can hear you.
perfect. And I don't, you know
All right,
what?
cool.
Now you're just getting a taste of it. I think you need to just pull yourself away from the situation. It doesn't matter. I see people in public transit talking all the time on podcasts, and I always wonder what it's like around them. Like if I was that guy's neighbor, would I just be getting a free show? Would I be annoyed because it's just my daily routine and this jackbutt's talking about the Toronto Blue Jays? And there's that person that just looked at you. He's like, "Who are the Toronto Blue Jays?" Lovely.
This is an opportunity to teach people about Saskatoon. Spread the word.
Oh, and he's frozen.
Which is also something that's happening in
He
Saskatoon
should- yeah,
today.
it has-
We're all frozen.
It is so cold here.
Yeah, cold and snowy.
This takes me back to the first episode where I was in Moose
It's
Jaw.
frozen.
I was in Moose
Oh.
Jaw. Oh,
Heard him there for a second.
do we have a guest? Do we have another guest, AJ?
Making friends wherever he
You're
goes.
married, Adrian. All
I
right.
think he's going through a tunnel.
Yeah, that could be a tunnel. Anyway, it takes me back to the episode 1. I was in Moose Jaw, Saskatchewan, at a spring hockey
Cast in
event,
Canada.
and I
Right? Is it?
I was having
frozen
connection
right now,
issues
'cause
like
when
this
it's-
as well, so I did a full lap of the
I
area that I
know.
was on
Wait till it
until I
comes
could
back.
find that pocket,
Yeah.
that magic pocket
Yeah.
where it worked again, and I couldn't do a tour.
I know.
How are you doing now, AJ? Still frozen. All right.
They call Moose Jaw the Australia of Saskatchewan.
Do they?
Yeah. It's down under, down there at the bottom of.
You're very clever.
No, not.
That was pretty clever.
Thank you.
All right, so the reason Simon is dressed in all Blue Jay stuff is that we're super hardcore Jays fans. At least Adrian and myself and Gary are.
Oh,
Oh,
hey,
look
he's
at
back.
this!
There you go.
What's up?
Hi.
Who's your friend?
What's your name?
Rachel from Australia. 1-1.
Hello, from Australia.
That was
Everyone,
fantastic.
I'd assumed everyone would be from
Yeah,
Australia.
yeah,
That's in
yeah.
Australia.
Makes
Do you
sense.
do you know anything about baseball?
I like baseball, but I like NFL more.
Oh, who's gonna
Ooh.
win the Super Bowl?
John Brady, my nigga. John Brady.
Yeah, Tom Brady.
Tom Brady's gonna win the Super Bowl.
All right, I gotta go. See you later.
That was
Bye-bye.
amazing.
That was great.
That was really great.
You were right. People want to learn. They want to learn about baseball. Anyway, sorry.
was awesome.
You guys let's get back to it.
All right, so
Yeah.
Simon's dressed all in Jays gear. Okay, he's more of a Cubs fan, but obviously he's been to Dunedin once or twice, and he's been fortunate enough to see some spring training. What year were you there?
I've been there several times actually. My oldest brother used to live sort of in the Tampa St. Pete area, and he was actually lived the stadium he lived closest to, spring training stadium, was the Jays in Dunedin.
Wicked, yeah.
So I think I did maybe 5 or 6 trips down there during the years that he was living down there.
Okay,
Yeah,
5 or
so-
6 trips. So we have a friend that we're in a chat group with, Jeff Lamperman. Shout out Jeff. He goes every year, so I think this will be year 4 for
Okay.
him. in a row. So the past 4 years he's gone, and he always has great stories of, because it's such a small ballpark.
Yeah.
It feels, it's almost like Cairns, not quite, it's bigger, but almost that Cairns Field or the field in Moose Jaw or even Swift, where
Very intimate.
very intimate.
Yeah.
Like, so you might run into a high profile athlete or a high profile former manager or reporter or anything like that, and it's cool seeing some of the photos he comes back with.
I remember once being in line at the ticket booth, and the guy in front of us was taking a really long time, like he was having trouble getting his tickets worked out or whatever.
Yep.
And after a couple of minutes of half listening to this, it was like, that voice is familiar. Oh, it's Buck Martinez in front of us,
Oh, yeah.
trying to get his tickets sorted out for his friends and family.
That's wicked. I saw a doppelganger of Buck in Saskatoon the other day, and I
Oh.
took a photo of him, and I asked Gary who he thought he was. He's like, "Is that Buck? Is Buck in
Nice.
Saskatoon?" And I almost pulled that guy in, tried to do a fake interview. Where are we now, AJ?
We are now on Flinders Street, which is like right in the heart, right in the middle of Melbourne in the city.
Beautiful.
So I am walking. I've got a couple of meetings with some clients this afternoon. One's right next door to Marvel Stadium, and so they play a lot of AFL there. Capacity there is about 45,000. So
Crazy.
a lot of sporting facilities right around here, and also walking in the city is quite interesting. There's some interesting scenery, as we experienced earlier on the show.
That's cool. I love it. Are you going to be able to hammer out this quarter century team with us as you're walking?
Yeah, absolutely.
Did you make your own, or should we go with the one that I made? Did you make
I'm
one
good
by
to go.
chance?
I did.
So we all made one. So you can walk, talk, read at the same time?
Yeah, I will try.
All right. Well, let's try. I think we shouldn't waste any time here. We got lots of time to go, but we'll be fine. So what we're doing is everything right now. It's all the rage to make your quarter century team. So last week we had Les Lazaruk on the show, and he in 3 minutes made his quarter century Blades team.
Oh my God, that must have been amazing.
It was amazing to watch. Like, it was 3 minutes, no preparation, just off the top of his head.
There's
I
no
mean,
one better than Les.
He's
right, Maggie.
yes, Maggie.
No,
Les is the best. There was a little bit of cheating. I mean, he did already know the Team 1, Team 2 All-Stars that were posted earlier, so that was a pretty easy blend, but it was amazing to see him just throw the entire team together in 3 minutes. So we're not going to do that. We're going to take our time here. So quarter century Blue Jays. Adrian, who do you have at leadoff? Or do you want to go position by
All right.
position?
I'm just going to make sure I don't get run over here.
That's more
All right,
important.
so leading off at left field.
Yes, sir.
This guy was never. Are we just going names, or can we add a little commentary?
We got the time.
want?
We got the time, and you got places to walk to, so you might as well talk and walk and look at your phone.
All right. So starting in left field, lead off.
Yes.
This guy never hit more than 21 home runs. He was never an all-star in his career,
Yeah.
but he ended up in 10 seasons batting .298 with the Jays.
Sick.
Shannon Stewart.
100%. Who do you got?
He's my. I didn't make an actual lineup. I have to admit.
that's
I
fine.
found out about this about 2 hours ago, so I just picked position players. But
That's
he would.
works.
I'll put Shen. Yeah, he was my number one left fielder, and then I have honorable mentions for each position.
To be fair, you guys, I have Team 1, Team 2, and honorable mentions.
Oh, very nice.
But we won't go. We won't go that. I just listed every single player that played for the Jays in the past 25 years. I too have Shannon Stewart in the leadoff spot. I also have him at the number 7 left field. So you have him as your number 1 left fielder as
have
well?
him as my number 1 left fielder. I went. Or should we get into the
Go
honorable
ahead.
mentions?
If you want, yeah.
Teoscar, he played all 3 outfield positions for the Jays, and obviously it was a brief career. But I've got him as my second left fielder, and then sort of honorable mentions to Lourdes Gurriel Jr. and Adam Lind.
Okay, so to further that, I have Teoscar on my bench. So we'll probably cover the honorable mentions, or some of us will have guys on the bench, so we can probably skip over that. But I have Teoscar on the bench. I have on Team 2, I got Lourdes Gurriel Jr. starting in left field. I have Kevin Pillar on the bench for that Team 2, because he can cover center field and
Yeah, I
left
have
field.
him as a center fielder for sure.
Yeah. So, AJ, let's move right along here, my friend. We got in the 2 spot. Should be obvious, I think.
Well, I don't know. So batting number 2, playing right field, led the league in home runs in 2010, 2011. 6-time All-Star Jose Bautista
In the 2 spot.
Yeah, well, I mean,
in the 2 spot.
I get like I said, I didn't make an actual lineup, but I get what you're saying. Or the problem we're going to run into is these are all-star teams, and typically you're going to put Joey Bats there in the 4 spot or maybe 3, but you got so many guys that you can plunk into those spots that that's a great call there, and obviously I think he's your number 1 right fielder.
100%. I have him in
8.3 WAR in 2011. 8.3 is an
That's insane.
WAR.
That is insane. I think anything. What are they saying? Great is like 5.
Yeah. If you're like Hall of Fame best seasons are like around, you're getting 9, maybe 10.
Right, because if you look at all-time WAR leaders, besides the ridiculous ones that are up over 100, but if a guy's played 10 to 12 seasons and he's got 50 to 60 WAR, that's pretty insane.
You're looking at probably a Hall of Fame.
You're in the Hall of Fame, and then you got freaks that are up over 100 for some unexplained reason.
Right. Do we have a sense? Does our audience should we explain WAR a little bit? I don't know
if you can. 100%.
I can give you a very basic, rudimentary explanation. It stands for wins above replacement. So you imagine your absolute replacement, complete average player, each number of WAR. So for example, as we said, 8.3 WAR. The calculation, and it takes everything into account. It takes offense and defense. The theory is that Jose Bautista by himself in 2011 was responsible for 8.3 Blue Jay wins.
Yeah. And it doesn't quite work out. I've nerded out a couple days where I've taken the WAR of every player of a single team, particularly the Blue Jays, and I've added their WAR values, including the guys in the negative, to see if I get the total WAR that was projected for the team at the start of the year, or where they are in the lineup, like if that WAR matches their wins total, right? It doesn't always work that way, but it's close.
It's close.
And it's interesting. It's a cool stat.
It's not a perfect stat, but it's cool. It's a really good way to measure players against each other, specifically players that play different positions, players that play in different eras. It's a really useful comparison, more than I think it is a straight thing that's going to be, okay, you have 9 more wins because of this guy.
100%. But during free agency, when you go and sign someone, like the Blue Jay fans are hoping we get Pete Alonso or Alex Bregman or some impact bat added to the roster this year, you can look at their value and say it's like, okay, Pete's worth 2, Alex is worth 4. You'd get them for different reasons, or if you could get both of them. But say the Jays are projected to get 82 wins or 84 wins so far with their current lineup. Well, that player could add another 2 wins, which could mean a playoff appearance or something like that. So it's fun to nerd out on that. Really fun nerding out is fantasy baseball. And Jay Mays, my brother, made a fantasy baseball league kind of situated around WAR and similar metrics the best he could within the algorithm of Yahoo and all the stats. And then he was in a draft, just a public one time, and invited some people to this league, and then invited some friends. And there was a guy named AJ that signed up because we emailed everybody. And so there's a guy named AJ, and for a full year, everyone in the draft thought it was Adrian Belerjon that's walking through here. And we would tell jokes and make references and talk about our childhood, and this guy had no clue what we were talking about, just some guy. And then
accountant?
Yeah, then I clicked and I messaged AJ, and Adrian's like, what are you talking about? I don't do fantasy baseball. And then I found this guy, and it's AJ Smith-Sucre from Toronto. He's actually from Toronto.
I thought you were going to say AJ Smith-Shaver, who's a pitcher for the Braves.
That would be deadly if that was the situation. It was not, but AJ's been nice. He's been in the draft for 10 years, does not know anybody in it, just found out that we're all, for the most part, from Saskatchewan, or commuted to Vancouver, Calgary, or for the Walkers, somewhere nice in BC. But it's absolutely hilarious that we thought AJ was there.
How did you come across?
What's
how
that?
did you come across AJ Sucre's details? Like, how did he get on your email list?
Well, Jason was in a public draft at the time, so he invited all the friends, and then just in case we didn't get enough guys, he also invited these guys. So he's like, who did you invite? I'm like, well, I invited AJ. Like, everyone that would have been in our chat group. Like I sent everybody this
Yes.
invite, and it's just hilarious that for a full year we thought it was you. Anyway,
I have a fantasy baseball addiction
All
problem.
right.
I play in so many leagues. It's
Yeah.
ridiculous. But my home league, we're celebrating our 30th anniversary this year. National League only, 4x4 old school.
so you don't have it online.
I
There it
mean,
is now.
it's run online. We have like the stat service and a website that we can go to, check your stats and the standings. But we do our salary cap draft or auction in person.
Yeah,
Amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's the best. But yeah, I'm usually in a few Yahoo leagues. And, it's
Yeah.
the best. I love it so much.
Adrian's not in. You're just not into that, hey?
Not your thing.
No, I find it takes up a lot of my time. When I moved here to get to understand the Aussie rules football,
Mm.
they'd started something called Super Coach. And it was a similar thing. You had so much money and you could buy your players and they get points. And it was actually, so if we have any of our viewers, I suspect most of our viewers today are all baseball fans. But if you're not a baseball fan and you want to get into it, I say fantasy sports are the perfect way just to understand the game, understand the players, the up and coming players, the stars. Because that's what I found. Because here, everybody, the water cooler chat at work,
Yeah.
or when we were at work, everybody talks Aussie rules football here. And I knew nothing. So we did Super Coach. And that was a lot of fun. But yeah, as we started having kids, it was like, no, not anymore. So
Yeah, no, I'm
sorry,
with you on
boys,
that.
I can't contribute to that anymore.
Oh, it's fine. I'm this Adrian. I'm the same way. Like even at work, I get offers. It's like, oh, do you want to join this fantasy football thing? I was like, you know what? I'm in one, or I'm in two. That's enough. Like I don't need to be in another one and another one, and the stakes are always $100, or it gets more and more expensive. And then I realize that, my kids aren't going to eat this week because I've gambled it all away on something I won't even know the results of for 6-7 months. It just doesn't work. But anyway, we're getting off topic here. You
To
said
the surprise of everyone.
yeah, you said Jose Bautista. I have him in the 3-hole. That's fine. But bottom line is he is in right field for me as well. So who do you got 3-hole?
3-hole, I've got center fielder. He won All Stars, Gold Gloves, Silver Sluggers, almost
good.
everything.
Yeah.
Vernon Wells.
100%. He is also my starting center fielder.
Yeah, we're in complete agreement. Vernon Wells, center field. Kevin Pillar backing him up.
I got V-Dub down a ways in the order just because I couldn't justify having him where you have him in the order. But you obviously have to have him there because he was so integral during the years that he played. It's a shame that they didn't do more damage, I would say, during those years. But
can I quickly mention another WAR thing? You know who had a 5 WAR for the Blue Jays last year, and it's going to surprise you?
Go ahead. I think I know. But
It's along this position. Dalton Varsho had a 5
Varsho,
WAR, which I
yeah.
believe led the Blue Jays, and that's almost entirely defensive. So that's one of the great things about WARs. It takes the complete picture. It's not just
and then you'll have some people that start separating it into D-WAR,
right?
And it's like, okay, what is this guy bringing to the table? But yeah, Varsho was not a bad acquisition. I was a fan of his. He had a hot bat for Arizona for 1 year.
Mm-hmm.
There's potential there. He gets very streaky, and he's amazing. The one thing that it just gets clouded with who the Jays gave up to get him.
Gabriel Moreno.
Moreno, and then the last few very affordable years, 2 years, I guess, of Lourdes Gurriel Jr., and people just are stung with that. But
Varsho's a good player.
Varsho's so good. It's amazing.
If he could have stuck at catcher, I realized what a wasteland catcher has kind of been for the Blue Jays, other than one or two notable names. But I tried to sneak Dalton Varsho in there because that's how he came up as a catcher.
Yeah, he's had a slash. So amazing. Also, Josh Donaldson, catcher.
Carlos Delgado came up as a catcher.
Jordan Romano, catcher.
Kenley Jansen. He was not a Blue Jay. He could be. He could still become a Blue Jay though. He started off as
Jeff Reichen. Jeff Reichen was a catcher.
Who was? Sorry.
Jeff Reichen. He was a
every
catcher
time
as well.
Reichen. I hope Reichen's watching this. What a beauty.
Hey, he was a talent, man. He was a beast.
I remember he had a 17K game at Kiwanis at the diamond that they at the Nutana Diamond in Saskatoon, which they've now outfitted with all turf. But before it was turf, it was kind of like the undesirable diamond to play at. It was dirt infield, and I remember he played the Braves. It was the Cardinals versus the Braves, and it was a cold, cold evening. Not a lot of people wanted to get their hands rung up. You know what I mean? You get some bat testers out there that'll say that was a little handsy or that was on the hands. Just means their hands got rung up. It was a little bit below the barrel, but nobody wanted to hit the ball. He threw super hard, and he had 17 Ks that day. That's just a legendary moment for me as a fan of my friend Jeff Rakin. Who do we got?
Now,
Go ahead.
Let's go. Keep going. I was going to say, how are we going for time?
We got tons of time. I don't know how you're doing for time.
I can go for another 20 minutes. So and we got
Okay.
six
Well, we
more
have 18
players to
minutes until Frankie's fingers, so we're good.
go. All right.
All right. Who do you got in the 4 spot?
4th spot. Now, there's a reason why I put this guy in here. He's the most recent player. I got him at DH. I got Vladdy hitting 4 because the guy behind him was a guy that's going to protect him well. So I think with somebody who can hit really well behind Vladdy, he just becomes, it's an extra probably 5 or 6 home runs and another 10 to 15 points in his batting average. So batting 4, I'm going with Vladdy.
As a DH? Oh,
As a DH.
I mean, he qualifies. He has DH
Fair.
before. He's probably when the Jays announced that they've signed Pete Alonso. He will be doing about 33 games at the DH spot this year, maybe more. I would assume. Crazy thing is, he's probably a better defensive first baseman than Pete Alonso. So,
but he can also play as a reasonable
he could also
third.
play third as well. Yeah. So you might see him do some splits depending on how the makeup of the roster. But that's a great pick. I honestly, surprising, I have Vladdy on the bench. AJ as a backup option, 2 DH, 2 play third, 2 play first.
Wow. I
And
thought
Jason
I was going to be controversial because I don't have him as my first baseman. So
well, me neither. But
Yeah.
so I got
None
Jay
of us
Mays
do.
also has this guy on the bench. He made one as well. I'm not going to reference his because we're going to focus on the 3 of us because last time you yelled at me. So that's fine. So you got in the DH. So in the DH spot, I have Edwin.
Yeah.
Is my DH. Edwin Encarnacion. I couldn't see. I thought he was a true DH. So I went with that. But definitely, depending on how this year goes, Vladdy could take that over. I think he's going to have a massive year, and hopefully it's a massive year, which kickstarts a huge career with the Blue Jays, locked up for the next 12 years.
Yeah.
But or 13 years this year and another 12.
what's that
hopefully.
number going to be? 450?
487 probably. I had a number that it could have been 27 million at like 16 years.
Yeah.
Like it would work out to that, but it would whatever he'd actually make, and then
The Bobby Bonilla deal?
yeah,
Just pay him into the next
and
century?
then just pay him forever. Then I thought it could have been 432, which is 430. I don't know. I had 432 in my mind, and then as this keeps dragging on, I just think it's going to get closer. I keep including the 28.5 million that he's making this year because they could have signed him,
Bought out this year.
and I think it could have been that 450 number or 4 whatever, but instead they've signed him to 28.5, and now they're
I hope he's
it's dragging on.
okay.
Like in life
Lots
afterwards.
of fried bologna.
Yeah, it'll be tough to provide for a family of 4 on a 450
Like, thankfully, his
million
dad
dollar.
also played baseball, so hopefully he got a little bit of money. His
Wow.
dad senior can help him out.
With just maybe some guidance on how to save money or have children.
What's going on, Coach?
But here's the other thing with I'm comfortable in signing Vladdy for long term, not just because that's what he wants, but if you look at his dad's stats towards the end of his career, they're still very strong. Like you
Oh, yeah.
wouldn't have thought he retired when he did. So
I didn't need to.
didn't need to. So you know what? Line him up, get the number of years that he wants. Let's just get it over with, so we can move on.
100%. I think the concerning thing with Vlad, unfortunately, he had a lot of baby fat coming into the league. He was very young. Didn't have a workout regimen or a proper workout ethic. I don't think things came relatively natural. I'm not saying he didn't train for baseball every single day of the year, but he just didn't wasn't toned up. He's done that well, I think, the past couple of years, especially last year. I don't think you're going to have a Prince Fielder thing where he just hits the 10th year and the knees give out or he just can't go on. I don't see that. I think Vladdy's going to be good, and I think if you sign someone like Pete for the next couple of years, if it's a 3-year contract or a 3-year opt-in to 5 years, if you could have that duo taking turns at first base, taking turns DHing and stuff, I think you'll just get more out of that player longevity-wise. Like, not saying that sitting's not healthy, but 162 games out of the year, if you're on the field for all those games without some rest, it'll take the toll. And if you're going to give a guy $487 million, you probably want him playing a lot.
Absolutely.
So,
and if you haven't seen the
Simon,
video
who did you have? Oh, sorry.
No,
sorry,
go ahead.
you go.
Sorry.
Okay. I was going to say, who do you have at DH?
DH, I
Edwin.
had Edwin.
We both have Edwin.
Okay,
Honorable
all right,
mention
so-
to the one season of Frank Thomas, just because he was a Hall of Famer. Big hurt.
Yeah, that's a good
That's
call.
a great one.
One of
Was
those.
that-
Oh yeah, he was a Blue Jay.
Wait, was that in the past 25 years?
Yeah, it was
Does
like
sneak in?
2001 or something
Okay.
like that.
On my team too, am I breaking up here? Man. On my team too, I have Adam Lind as the DH. Actually, he's my little shout out there.
I briefly had him as my fourth left fielder. I had Adam Lind, who had a very good career.
He did have a very good career. It's fun doing this stuff because you get to remember some guys,
Yeah.
and then how good the Jays, like how many good players they had on the team that just was said that it wasn't enough. Like they just didn't quite have enough. But it's like they had some really solid players.
So many guys with real short peaks is what I found when I was going through. Like so many guys who had like 2 or 3 or 4 really good seasons. More so on the pitching side. I really struggled to put together my pitching staff beyond a couple of the obvious names, which we'll get to.
Yeah.
But short peaks, but just like excellence during that time.
True, and then it's funny, as I mentioned, we had Les on before with the Jays, and he was talking about how it's hard to create an all-century Blades team because it's a junior level, so it's like maximum you're going to be 4 years, maybe 5 or whatever, but it's going to be you're looking at guys that play 2 or 3 years, and you might have that superstar like Martin Erat that comes through the thing, but he's only there for a year. It's like, so he doesn't make the talent, but he's maybe the most successful out of the entire bunch. So it's interesting like that. But I found that curious that the longevity of baseball players with one organization isn't as great as I thought it would be. It's like a 5-year window. Okay, let's move on, AJ. So you got 1, 2,
Can you
3,
just
4.
remind me? Can you remind me again? How long did Les go through his full list?
3 minutes.
Like 3 minutes, okay? Because we've got 13 minutes left, and
We
we've
can do
still
it.
got 4 or 5 players, and so
Let's rip.
batting 5, playing first base, Carlos Delgado.
Great pick.
He's my 4-hole, and he's at third base. Yeah, 100%. And first base. And sorry, on the 3 spot. I just could make fun of myself endlessly here for doing that. But he would protect Vladdy amazingly. Like if this team could be real life, that would be. Carlos was amazing. He should be in the Hall of Fame.
I agree. Something else I completely forgot about today until I was looking today. I forgot that he went from the Jays to the Marlins. I completely forgot about his Marlins season. I thought it was Jays Met. He did 1 year in Florida. That's my thing. He had a 7.3 WAR in 2000. That's amazing.
7.3. That's crazy that Batista outwarred him.
Yeah, but Jose, I believe, has the all-time Jays record at 8.3.
Yeah.
In 2011.
It was a pretty unreal year.
And maybe some of Carlos's seasons in the 90s, maybe they would be up even higher than that. But yeah, I believe Joey Bats has number 1.
Cool. Okay, who do we got in the 6th spot, AJ?
Playing third base, Josh Donaldson.
Okay, I don't think we're going to disagree at all on this, which is pretty amazing. I have him batting 2. Just he was an MVP, and I couldn't get past the Josh Jose thing. And to be fair, I don't know if they got along amazingly. I don't know what the team dynamic there was. There was just a couple moments, not to each other, but there was like Jose was being sold short a little bit, and they're just like going on. They're like, I saw one interview post game where a reporter was like, "What do you think of the season Josh is having? Is he just a lock for the MVP? What a treat it must be to be able to bat behind him." And all Jose said is, to be able to put up an MVP number, you have to have greatness behind you. And then I'm like, oh, he's giving himself the
Yeah.
biggest compliment in the world, but he's not wrong. Like if Jose doesn't bat behind Josh, does he? If he stays in with the A's,
Yeah.
and he's got Mark Canha or whoever
Mm-hmm.
batting behind him,
Not
like
quite
is he gonna be the same? Is he gonna be the same? Probably not. I think there was a great move for both guys.
Also originally a Chicago Cub. Traded him away for Canadian Rich Harden.
Which I saw Rich Harden play when I was at Wrigley. No, not Wrigley Field. I saw Rich the day he got traded.
Oh,
I think we were Jay Mays' 30th birthday. We were in Chicago, and we were at U.S. Cellular, which was White Sox, and the A's were there, and he was supposed to be on the field. And then I believe
You got the news.
did that go? Do I have that correct? He went A's to the Cubs, or
No one's
Cubs
calling
A's?
you on it.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Oh no, that was his first day, so he went Cubs
okay.
A's, right? So he was like he was.
So
in
it's
the-
it's a 9-minute call here. 9-minute call.
Way to keep
Go
us
ahead.
honest, Coach.
Thank you. Okay, who do you got? 7th spot.
Batting,
Well,
batting
third base, I
7
have Josh
spot.
Donaldson. I think there's the backup guys, Scott Rowland, Troy Glaus. Obviously, they have a kind of interesting thing because they got traded for each other. And then Scott Rowland was the one who got traded to bring in Edwin Encarnacion. And then backing up Matt Chapman with a soft spot for Eric Hinsky.
Wow, well done. I have in team 2. I got Troy Glaus as well, but he only what was that 2 years? But you can't sell short. He had a great 2 years. He was really good actually. When you look at the numbers, and you don't appreciate it. AJ, keep us moving here. We're running out of time now.
Yeah, you talk about short time with the Jays, playing second base, batting 7. He had 45 home runs in that 1 year in 2021. Marcus Semien.
You know what? I had Aaron Hill. I have Marcus Semien on the bench, but you're right. I had Marcus in my lineup for this, and then there's something I don't know. Maybe Jay Mays was in my ear saying Aaron Hill's got to be the guy because he was at least there for 6 years or whatever it was.
We went through the exact same thought process.
Yeah.
Marcus Semien, that one season, 2017, amazing, 7.1 WAR. But Aaron Hill, 5.8 in 2009, 5.2 in 2008. I'm guessing that was. I made a typo there, but yeah, Aaron Hill. That's definitely one of the guys that made me go, oh right, Aaron freaking Hill. He was good.
He was good. Not as good as Marcus Semien's 1 year though, which I respect. Why
1
AJ
year.
would put him in. It was amazing though that he was on fire. He couldn't miss, and you knew the Jays weren't getting him back.
Yeah.
Who do you got next?
Batting 8, shortstop, little recency bias. I still think there's a lot ahead of him. Hopefully with us, Bobichette.
Absolutely.
Yep. I have him batting in front of Aaron Hill, but it's fine. Yeah, I got Bichette at shortstop. No arguments
sweep.
there. I think he is on the way out. One guy will go, and I think it'll be him. And it might be a trade deadline. It might be a unique situation where I'm starting to believe in the Jays again. If they can get Bregman and or Alonso, or Alonso and or Bregman, or neither, but one of them, I have some belief that they could knock on the door, and I think they would do something wild. Like still potentially trade Bichette at the deadline, even if they're entering the playoffs. Like if they could get someone, just because he wouldn't be relied upon if they end up building that roster, I don't think his bat would be as crucial. And if they could get something for him and still replace his defense, I could see that happening. Anyway, who you got rounding up the lineup?
Rounding up behind the dish, Russell, Nathan, Coltrane, Jensen, Martin Jr.
Nice.
What kind of name is that? What kind of name is that?
Is that his name? Full Train?
Russell, Nathan, Coltrane, Jensen, Martin.
Wow.
That's impressive.
I think that was, I'm sure Buck has talked about that on air before, but you got anything on Russ?
Russ, I mean, a Canadian, first of all.
Yes.
It was an amazing career. Pirates, Yankees, Blue Jays. And yeah, as I started to say, this was the easiest choice. I think my backup is JP Arancibia.
Oh, yeah.
But
Who's your bench, AJ? Who do you got on the bench?
For catcher, I had Darren Fletcher, but on the bench, I've actually got Edward Encarnacion on the bench.
Yep.
'Cause and then I had Kevin Pillar, left-handed bat off the bench, Justin Smoke, backup at shortstop, Jose Reyes, and George Springer.
I think you have way too long of a bench there. You made a
lot of guys who aren't going to be happy about their playing time.
No, I have Danny Jansen as my backup catcher. Fletcher could have been there. Zahner could have been there. But we don't have time, so we're going to rip. We're going to fast through this like we always do. So now your entire rotation, all 5, go.
All right. Roy Halladay.
Yep.
Gosman.
Yep.
Hanjung Ryu.
No.
Burley and Burnett.
Wow.
So different.
Okay, I'm Halladay, Gosman, J.A. Happ, Marcus Stroman, Ricky Romero.
Roy Halladay, R.A. Dickey, Marcus Stroman, Aaron Sanchez, often forgotten about how great he was, Robbie Ray.
Okay, for to even make it more fun for my team too, I have Robbie Ray, A.J. Burnett, Jose Barrios, Mark Burley, and Chris Bassett, which is funny that we're all over the map.
Ricky Romero is like that ultimate thing that I was talking about, like so good, and then what happened? Like it didn't seem like he even had injury issues. He just stopped being a good pitcher.
But he became a good announcer.
Did he really?
Yeah, that's what he
would have to be
Vancouver
he would have to be one of the Jays' worst opening day starters. Because we've got a lot of good ones. Like when you look at the list that we all talked about, I just don't see how Romero fits up there. But you can respect.
You know what's funny?
The call.
You know what's funny? We're rushing AJ. If you're not in a rush, I'm not in a rush. I don't have to pick up my kids until 6:30, so I got an hour and a half before I have to pick them up from ski trip. So if Gary's dad is watching this, we're gonna get some bang for your buck here. We might go over a minute or two. I'm looking at the clock like it matters. I don't care where Phenom has to go. You know what I mean? Doesn't bother me. The hand is shaking.
The weather, the snow, the streets that you can't even traverse.
Yeah, the
doesn't
hand
matter.
Is the hand shaking his fist at me right now? Oh, he is. He does. Okay, we can't go that far.
Right.
We can't go that far. So we will rip. We will also rip through your entire bullpen.
Andrew Albers, more
Oh,
from a
beautiful.
sentimental
Nice.
perspective, but man, he's effective. He'll come in, get your ground ball.
Yep.
Chris Carpenter, Yimi Garcia, Jeff Francis, another Canadian that I don't even know if he's a reliever, but I just like it. He
did
was
it.
there.
Yeah.
Paul Quantrell and Casey Jansen.
Okay, so interesting. So my closer would be Jordan Romano.
Closer. I'd Billy Koch or Romano.
I love it. I don't care what happens here, or if the hand turns into a full body and strangles me lately. I'm going to go through team 1 and 2 bullpen. So you take it away, and I'll finish it up.
All right. I also had Jordan Romano, third all-time in saves for the Blue Jays. I wouldn't have guessed that, behind Hanky and Ward. Now, they bungled that whole thing. He's a Philly this year. He should not be a Philly.
It's who they brought in with parallel money, but also similar injury concern, and bringing back like Hoffman's. It would be amazing if they could have both. It's too bad that they didn't want to pay Romano like $8 million. Like I understand you have to get value and you have to have what those players bring to the table and how much war they bring to the table or how much. But it's like sometimes they evaluated him at $6.5 million, so they wouldn't go to 8, even though he's your third all-time
and a local kid.
Save. Yeah, and he's from Toronto.
Yeah.
Like
I think there's something else going on. I think there's. He's not going to get through the year.
Okay.
You can record this bit, save this clip, and then if he has 55 saves, I'll look like an idiot. But I don't think he gets through the year.
That's fair, and I don't know if Hoffman does either, which took the same.
Yeah, that's fair too.
But because he did allegedly had 2 other contracts on the table with more money, and then they did the physical and they turned it down, and then he came to the Jays, and Jays was like, "We got our guy for the money. Let's not do a physical. Let's just roll with what he's got this year, and he might be fine all year." Okay, so keep going.
Other relievers, I only have a few because I just did closers and then like a couple guys that popped in my brain.
Okay.
BJ Ryan, I don't know if anyone mentioned him. He was really good when he was.
He's
closer.
good.
Yep.
Yeah, great call.
Casey Jansen, I think somebody mentioned. He was a really good closer. And then I threw in Joe Biagini because you need the comedic relief.
That's
and
awesome.
I interviewed him once, and it's one of my favorite stories that I ever did in my career. He's such a character and a pretty good, solid pitcher.
For a Rule 5 pick,
Yeah.
twice, he was really good.
Yeah.
And he was a hilarious interview, for
Super
sure.
funny.
Super
So much fun.
awkward.
Check it out on YouTube. Shaw TV Saskatoon, Joe Biagini.
Nice little plug. That's awesome.
For the
I didn't-
place I don't work anymore.
That's fine. That's who you got. So I'll take it off. I got, for my closer was Jordan Romano, like we talked about. I have setup guy or closer. Controversially, Roberto Osuna, because he was lights out. It's tough.
Yeah.
I mean, here's the thing. You can be punished for your past, but you what you did on the field still exists. So we could say that about Zahner as well, whether it was legit or
There's a few of
anything like
those
that. There's a
guys.
few of those
I
guys,
remember it today.
and unfortunately, that's just human nature. And some people have terrible nature about them, but they will still put up good
He was
numbers.
great.
And he was great, and I cheered the crap for him, and I cheered him all the way back home to Mexico when he left too. So I have Casey Jansen also in a setup-ish role. I got Brett Cecil as my lefty.
Good one.
I got Jason Fraser. I got Scott Downs as a lefty. We got Paul Quantrill as well. Made it, even though he just barely made that century mark. And then we got Kelvin
good
Escobar
call.
as my swing man, because he did both, right?
Yeah, he closed and then became a starter. Is that
Yeah,
what
it was wild. Yeah.
I'd forgotten that as well until this afternoon.
Also, when I was doing some studying. So then on my team too, much to the chagrin of the chinless hand back there, but Billy Koch as the closer. We got BJ Ryan set up. We got Ken Giles set up. We got lefty Tim Miza, who's still rocking it. We got Aaron Loop still around. I don't know if Ryan Taper's in there anymore, but he's around. I got Jesse Litch and then Dustin McGowan as a swing guy that could start you some games if you need. So that's it. Honorable mention, Max Scherzer. The Jays signed Max Scherzer. He could be on it right now. I don't care. As long as he steps foot, like as long as he makes a .1 inning. No, that's not possible.
Third of an inning?
A third of an
Yeah.
inning. Thank you. If he makes a third of an inning, and that's it, he's got to be in consideration for one of the greatest Blue Jays to ever. He's like
That's
a
a great
Frank
signing.
Thomas.
Yeah,
Yes.
totally.
Yeah. Like, amazing signing for 15 million, 15
Yeah.
and a half. Who cares? That's one of those, who cares how much he is. It's for a year. Shout out David Wells.
Yeah.
Shout out, you had Ori Dickey, so I don't need to. And I thought Homer Bush was an interesting one too. And
Another guy I got to interview and who was awesome.
and we'd be remiss if we didn't shout out Gary's Orlando Hudson. Could have played
Yeah,
some
O-Dog, for
could have played some
sure.
second base for one of the teams. I have him on team 2. So that's it. AJ. Where
Yeah,
you
no,
got to
that's
go?
it.
We made it. We're only 4 minutes early. The hand's
Yeah, no,
really
we're doing
pissed.
good.
The hand's dad's pumped because he's getting lots of work done. So it's good.
All right, perfect timing. We got through it. Loved it. I don't think there'll be many people you can question who we've named, and I don't think we've missed anyone. We've
I
got
feel pretty good
top
about our
big
list.
dog hitters. Yeah. You know what? Second base. I'm gonna. This will be my final parting words. I found second base. There's actually a lot of interesting guys. So we had Simeon. We talked about O-Dog, Homer Bush, Aaron Hill, Devon Travis. He was supposed to be
Oh, yeah.
Supposed
Another
to be.
Canadian
big
guy,
man,
right?
and
Yeah.
he just is he? Is he
I think
Canadian?
So yeah.
Oh,
No.
So he was supposed to be this,
Dang.
the up and coming guy. And he just never really hit his stride real
And then
well.
there's
Another one I just want to call out real quick because he played with the Expos as well. They just snuck in 2000s. Darren Fletcher, the Honda Dish.
Yeah, you had him. That's awesome. That
So,
that would be
that's
cool.
it.
You know who I had, AJ. So since you're on here, I'll just go through it as well since we're doing honorable mentions. But I had Jose Cruz Jr., Lyle Overbay, that had some good years. Marco Scutero could have been around. But one that I thought should have been on one of our teams, and I couldn't get him on there, was Tony Fernandez, who played like
1 year.
16 games in this century.
Was that his 8th or his 9th stint with the Jays?
Who knows? But I mean, if you're there, and it's like just like this Max Scherzer thing, or like if you played in the century and you carry that name, I think you could be on the roster, like a bench spot,
Absolutely.
just to fill in.
Coach? Could it be a coach?
Could 100%. Could we? We didn't even do coaches. That's the next episode.
Devin Travis is from Florida. I don't know what I was thinking. I don't know why. Am I confusing him with someone? Florida, not part of Canada.
Yeah. Yet.
Not yet.
Yeah.
Who knows?
We might completely role reverse this whole thing that's going on over here, AJ. Are you taking over New Zealand? Is that what's happening? Is Australia going to take New Zealand over?
Oh, yes. No, but I was at a coffee shop the other day and I could hear this guy talking to me and he's got this Canadian accent and I heard him say Calgary. And I'm going to guess he's probably around the same age as our dads. And I said, "Oh, are you from Canada?" And he said, "Oh, yeah, I'm from Vancouver." He goes, "Yep, all these tariffs. That's all everybody wants to talk about." Is that
the tariffs.
just dominating the headlines there and everybody's mental capacity? The tariffs?
Tariff talk?
We could do, we should get into some politics because that's what Gary's for.
No politics, no religion.
Gary is in the rocking chair in his living room watching this right now, and the phone just texted to me and to LB saying,
"We all know the one true religion is." I thought that would be where it would go to black.
Hey, this is the first time, AJ. I don't know. Were you on Frankie's Fingers before? Because Frankie's Fingers are playing.
Curtis Anderson.
No, I'm usually gone.
There's no religion, but I'd like to say Simon Hiatt is the savior of today's show.
Wow.
100%.
Thanks, brother.
The facts.
Appreciate it.
The facts. Oh, we would have been toast. If it was just me and AJ, I would have been, even though we talk to each other in other conversations pretty easily, I would just be, "Hi, AJ, people are watching us now on the YouTube."
It was so much fun. I love being here. I get to come and talk baseball. It doesn't happen all that often in my life.
Alrighty. Do you want to wrap it up? AJ, you wrap it up. We're going to close it out with whatever you say. Send us home.
Right. Great to have everybody on your show. We're looking forward to seeing you next week. We're going to finish off with all three of us playing the piano. We ready? 1, 2, 3. Take it easy, boys.